Hello students, today we will start with a new topic, that is duplicating genes. What are duplicating genes? Duplicating genes are those that causes changes in the generations during the course of evolution, and those changes are continued to the next generations also. So let's see the definition of duplicating genes. The genes that cause changes in generations during evolution and continue the changes or those changes to next generations. So, one of the best plant considered as the typical plant to study among angiosperms is Capsella bursa. Pastoris. Okay, so Capsella bursa pastoris. This is considered to be the best example to study whatever the evolutionary changes that are happening in the plant body. There is another example also, that is another species of Capsella, that is a best example to study the evolutionary changes related to self-cross, means how self-fertilization is evolved. That study is best studied by taking Capsella rubella example. Is used during studies to understand evolution of self-fertilization. Here, Capsella bursa example also best plant to study evolutionary changes. Evolutionary changes. So, whenever an example has come, like which is the typical and best example to study the evolutionary changes among angiosperm, answer will be Capsella. If they have given just this option, you can write any of these because genus is same here. Now, in this there is one specialty under Capsella. There are two pairs of alleles that are responsible for same type of character. Alleles, example, let's take a pair like this, another pair like this. Both of them are responsible for, or they represent same character. That is, for suppose you take shape of the fruit. It means that though the allele pair may be different, but they are coding for same type of character or phenotype or trait. Now, if any one of the allele, it can be this or this or this or this. If any one dominant allele is present in the gamete or in the zygote or in the next generation plants of the offsprings, then they express their own character. For suppose, if any one of the allele or the combination of the alleles are responsible for triangular shape of the fruit, then they will suppress whatever the contrasting recessive pair of alleles are present beside them. It means that they are responsible for triangular shape of the fruit in all these combinations, or if, for suppose, if one dominant allele is present, all the remaining alleles are recessive, then also the shape of the fruit will be triangular. What does this mean? These are representing the contrasting allele pairs. One dominant allele is present, all other are recessive, then also shape of the fruit is triangular. Roughly, I will draw here. It represents a little bit like this. Little bit. Not exactly. It can be little bit. This shape of the fruit. Triangular shape of fruit. Now, not only this. If there are two number of dominant alleles, then also the shape is triangular. If it is like this also, like this, then also triangular shape of the fruit. Next, another example. Again triangular. Next. Then also triangular shape of the fruit. If 3 number of dominant alleles are present, then also triangular shape of the fruit. Next, are there any other combinations that we can frame? We'll write all dominant also, then also the shape will be triangular. So we can consider these as the best examples to explain what type of allele pairs are responsible for triangular shapes of the fruits. Now, if completely dominant or recessive type of allele paired combinations are present, then it is responsible for elongated shape of the fruit. Shape of fruit. Let's take the parental combinations which are responsible for such type of allele pairs, and we will represent that one in Punnett square, and we will see what will be the, if you take parents having both dominant allele pairs, but these are responsible only for one type of shape of the seed. And we know that whenever some such type of dominant type of allele pairs are there, there will be their related contrasting allele pair also. So we are taking this one as recessive, which are responsible for elongated shape of fruit. And this such type of allele pair are responsible for triangular shape of the fruit. Shape of fruit. If you extract the gametes, it can be like this. Already I told you the types of gametes that are responsible for cross in dihybrid ratio are 4 types, but the total number of gametes that are responsible for dihybrid cross, either for getting F1 generation or F2 generation, the total number of gametes will be 8 in number. So these are considered as parental gametes. When we fuse this one to get F1 generation, then all 16 number of offsprings in F1 generation are of triangular shaped fruit. So all offsprings will be like this. They will be having allele combinations like this, and we know that total offsprings are 16. And 16 number of offsprings are, they produce triangular shaped fruits. To get the F2 generation, let's self-cross the offsprings that are obtained in F1 generation. So, the offsprings from F1 generation are like this, and we are crossing them. Self-crossing the F1 generation offsprings. So, what are gametes from F1 generation? If the allele combination is like this, then already I told you there will be 4 types, but total number is 8 number of gametes. If you take from one type of offspring, the gametes types are AB type and small. Now represent this one and gametes from this are again like this. Allele combination is like this. If you feel that I'm telling a little bit slow, you can fast forward and you can increase the speed limit and then you can listen the class. Because why I'm telling like this means there are some new students every year who enter into this biology studies, PCB or BPC students. For them, it is very easy if I say slowly like this, each and every term pronunciation and each and every term explanation, so they can easily understand. So students who already are very familiar about these topics, you can just increase the speed limit and you can listen to the classes. Okay. So the combinations of the allele pairs or alleles, if they are like this, then what will be the means the shape of the fruits? Here 4 are dominant, so it will be giving triangular shape of the fruit. So here also dominant, at least one dominant allele if it is present, then it gives the triangular shaped fruit only. So how many triangular shape of the shaped fruits are obtained? If we see the phenotypic ratio, here genotypic ratio I am not expressing because till now when some questions are asked from this type of duplicating genes, or when once the capsula bursa example was asked, at that time also the genotypic expression is quite different. So it is not necessary for this example. So just learn the phenotypic ratio. Genotypic ratio is not that much important here in this type of duplicating genes. So if you see what are triangular shaped fruits, answer is 50. Now, what type of fruit shape it is? Here it is elongated shape. When we see elongated fruits, number is only 1. So the ratio in this F2 generation of duplicating genes is 15:1. 15 are triangular shaped fruits and 1 is elongated shaped fruit. So this is about duplicating genes. Next we will start with a new topic, that is supplementary genes. In case of supplementary genes, there are different types of expressions given by different types of alleles. For suppose think there is one allele pair that is responsible for albino color. Next, another pair of allele is there in its dominant form that is responsible for black color. Now, we know that there will be their own contrasting characteristic allele pairs. When one dominant allele pair is present, it will be having its own recessive one. It can be expressed or it may not be expressed in presence of this type of alleles. That is secondary thing. So, when these two are present combinedly as a pair, then it is responsible for albino color. When this is existed along with its contrasting allele pair, then it will be responsible for black color. But when these both dominant alleles are paired together, then they give out another third color that can be agouti. Now, what is meant by agouti? Light brownish color. I can tell you the example of color, fur color of golden retriever. Okay, golden brown color or light brown in color, that is called as agouti. Now, if one dominant pair is paired with the contrasting of another one, then also the color will be albino. In the same way, if this black colored dominant allele pair is combined with the contrasting of another dominant one, then it will be responsible for black color only. And when these two both recessive allele pairs are combined, then also they give out albino color. So this is how the alleles are getting expressed when they are paired in different types of combinations. So this is explained in supplementary genes by taking the coat color of mice and also the grain color in mice. Example that we are taking is coat color of mice. If you take out the parents which are having combinations like, directly we are taking with agouti color which is crossed with purely albino. So this is responsible for agouti color, that is light brown or golden brown. And these paired alleles are giving out phenotypic character like albino. Now, albino is colorless. I think you have seen some of the people who are purely white, their eyebrows, hair, everything will be white in color. Now, if we extract the parental gametes, the combinations in the gametes will be like this. And when we take the recessive one in the gametes, it will be like this. In the F1 generation, the combination of the alleles will be like this. Then what will be the color? Color will be agouti. Because there are two dominant alleles here, which are paired with their own contrasting recessive alleles. When such combination is obtained, then the color will be agouti color. We will see out the F2 generation by taking out gametes from this one. So what will be the gametes? In case of, since this is nothing but a dihybrid type of cross, combinations of the alleles in the gametes will be capital A, small b, this one small a, capital B, another one will be like this. Now, the types of gametes are of 4, but the total number of gametes in dihybrid cross to obtain the F2 generation, the combinations will be a totally 8 in number and the types will be 4 in number. From F1 generation, the gametes that are obtained are like this. The combination is like this. So when we are representing that one, when we represent all the dominant allele pairs in F2 cross like this in the Punnett square. See, when two dominant alleles are present, then they are giving out agouti. But when only one type of dominant allele is present, then it is responsible for albino. And when another type of dominant allele that is responsible for black is only present, then it is responsible for black color. So I have written here what are the names of the combinations, means phenotypic names. So two dominant allele pairs are always giving out agouti color. So if you write the phenotypic ratio, how many agouti are present? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 are of agouti. Next, how many are albino? 1, 2, 3, 4. So is to albino are 4 in number. How many are black? 1, 2, 3. So the phenotypic ratio in case of supplementary genes is 9:4:3 when we take the coat color of mice as an example. Next, one important point that I have seen in one of the practice question bank, that is, this is one important point. In case of maize, the albino gene, which is purely of a recessive one, the albino gene is existed in chloroplast, and it is considered as lethal. Means if such type of albino gene is existed in one grain of the maize seed, then that seed will be dead and is considered as lethal.